Okay, good sunshine, good sunshine, good sunshine to you today. We are finally getting up. I guess it's not too late though. It's like 11:30, I believe, on a Tuesday. I believe. I'm losing track of time. Losing track of time and different things. So it's okay. It's okay. Losing track of time and everything, you know. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You know, every once in a while, touch in and make sure the day. Who keeps up on that pretty good is Savage. Savage and everything, you know. Uh, Uncle 7'9". They tell you the time and the temperature. You know, over in what is it? Where Prince is from? Indianapolis? Yeah. Medtronics too. Medtronics headquarters is right there too, I believe. You know, so yeah, so but I kind of in sync and everything too, because Medtronics even has the man uh, who's actually the medical logo that people use in biology and everything. When the man is or the woman, like it's generally depicted as a man, or they're laying down, you know, right, and then they stand up and everything. And so this is Medtronic's symbol, or they use it in a lot of presentations anyway, you know. So wow, it's I didn't think about that. But yeah, time is on our side. Yes, it is. So it's right beside us all the time, you know. But like I was saying, I finally come to a different point of view on it, in the sense, you know, because Lady Jennifer, and I heard her again today, and it jolted me and everything. Not in a bad way, but you know, everybody has their different perspectives on things, you know what I mean? And she was saying it kind of like putting a stamp in on it today, you know, so, you know, not necessarily giving any validation to it, but not taking anything away from it either. But I did come to look at a different perspective of it, in the way she says time is fluid. You know, me personally, time does not exist. It was created by man and so forth, in the sense of keeping track of time, okay? Keeping track of the day, keeping track of hours, to go ahead and make usage of the hours, to how man wanted to go ahead and make usage of the hours. Because really, you know, the day went throughout the day, but all of the different sages of the ages really waited for the nightfall to come, so we can actually go ahead and see what everybody's studying for or utilizing, especially inside of this genre of, well, I guess it's the income, you know, income and everything, and thought, and um, really learning about these pages and sages of the ages, and how even the thoughts of, and this is what gets me here, you know, I love it, but at the same time, it's like you know, Confucius, because Confucius is like a Shakespearean type of thing, to where, you know, it's like a dark humor, Confucius, you know, because Confucius is, you know, is basis of confusion, and then a fusion and that, a fusion, you know, so it's like fire and ice and all a fusion, you know, confusion. Ooh, ball of confusion. Remember? Okay, yeah. Hit some old songs today too. It was kind of cool. That was even before my time, a lot of them. And so, with that confusion, we also have the word con. Con means, are you with me? Are you with me on that? It could be with me even when we're gonna go con somebody and shit, right? And then we could be making a fuss, and then somebody say, hey, stop. But that was the whole thing, because now they didn't got you involved, and they getting ready to pull something on you and everything, and it's all fucked up. It's gonna be all fucked up, because hey, you wasn't just doing inside of your world and doing how your world is constructed, or your worlds are constructed. All right. And so, how I came to actually timing on that, right? That's cool, siren. How I came to actually look at it again now, in the sense of this, because everything in English is borrowed. It is the last language, which is probably the first, but not necessarily with the vowels, I believe. And because we had different sounds, clicking sounds, we had no sound. We didn't even have to talk. We're still, I kid you not, we go to a tree, okay? This is actually out of Australia. The lady went to her, sent her husband to the store to get some milk. And, not to get some milk, to get some other things. And she wanted to go ahead, and she forgot to tell him to get, some milk and everything. So she went to the tree, and I just come to a tree right now. And believe it or not, this is inside of a Buddhist temple right here. Went to a tree, okay? Let me see that tree right there. See how that tree, evidently there were many trees is right there on this same block. On the same block, there's many trees where all this concrete and everything is right here. All right? Many trees. And it ties into yesterday's story too. I'll get there. And so she went to a tree and went ahead and touched it, and telepathically told her husband to bring back some milk. Okay? And, when we go to the land of down under, where women roar and men thunder, I actually had somebody, I know for a fact, I had some property over there. And that's why I was like chilling with Moon for a minute over there, to see how, the vibe and everything was over there. With just, I'm not going to say base it off of one person and everything, but, just see the vibes, And so Ben, when I got out, this is inside of Itana, my younger Eugene Brown III, which is really never mind, we don't go there. Eugene Brown III, his wife that he married, Itana Castro Brown, and they get a gypsy background, gypsy Jewish background. Itana is really spelled with a G. So what they did is they took the Itana, the E part of Itana from Egypt, and then she put a GY in order to make her name Gitana, okay? But the G is silent. So a lot of Jewish and people that come over to this country from the other countries, they go up underneath Indian names in order to get land and everything. They use that also in order to get land and be federally recognized to receive checks and so forth. That's why you'll see definitely in California right now, all the Asian. When I look inside some of these casinos right now, it's nothing but Asians. Oh, nothing but Asians. Saying ching, 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 ching. You know what I mean? I-ching, 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 ching, 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 I-ching, I-ching, I-ching. Where Confucius is at. Ching, 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 ching. Because they didn't hit the jackpot. You see what I'm saying? So we got that mix inside of there, this is Isaiah 55 said, hey, come on over and eat for free. All that inside of there. So, and in that process is this when China came over too. They made some Chinese tribes and Indians, Chinese Indians and shit. You know what I'm saying? And even and so within that, this is how the language started getting. We borrow this things and that from different languages and so forth. Like Ren, I was telling you, Ren 1010 is that of people. Ren also is that of the directing vessel, while Du is that of the governing vessel. Okay? And so getting to the time, Ye is that of liquids. Ye is that of liquids. And Jin is that of time, of fluid. So Jin is of fluid. So now when we get the word Genesis, this is the beginning of time as man has set it up to be. And set meaning with calculations of what? The sun. Okay? That's how I agree with it. Other than that, time does not exist and is not fluid. But it's only fluid because of the borrowed word coming from Sinology or Chinese. That is how it is only fluid. Okay? You can put that to that right there, because other than that, even clocks, you use oil. It's oil, which is, you can say basically it's a fluid, but that oil is an oil. It's not really a fluid. So dealing with these things right here, or when you come across with them, and you don't have to make any type of deal with them either, because a lot of these idiosyncrasies or psychiatric gymnastics of thought and language and so forth, in order to have some type of charisma, somewhere around, charisma, theater, fucking theater, hey, that's right, everything is like a good play, and so when we go ahead and actually see these things and just tell it like it is, boom, I ain't nothing to play with. Go out and find yourself a toy. Right? When you go out and you go ahead and you tell it like it is, because they know what the hell is happening. They know when a motherfucker's saying is right or wrong. And not to say that anything I say is right or even wrong either. That's up to the individual to go ahead, and you are your own one who directs your own world and so forth, and don't have to push anything on whatever anybody tells us that something is. For one, it's actually what I saw inside of the Republic, Plato and Socrates, and and Glaucon and everybody there, especially chapter 10, is that everything was in a question prose, It wasn't a sliding thing in, sliding thing that way, or what have you not, in order to go ahead and, see my point of view. And it's not a thing to say that you don't want to share your point of view, because that's what exchange is on energy. But it's what it is the way that the energy is manipulated, or, the word magic and all that type of bullshit comes into play, to where one wants to go ahead and stay in that energy or converse inside of that energy with the individual, or even clone that has definitely, Katy Perry, you know what I'm saying? They can get stuck and shit. They can get stuck. And then they're going to definitely need some fluid to get that motherfucking eye open, or get that damn robotic eye open. They're going to need some fluid for sure. WD-40 like a motherfucker. For real. Okay? And so, and we can even lead a time alone in that aspect, because Jin, Isis, okay, which is really engineers also need fluids, yeah. So this is how time has been engineered. Like Ramlin Wreck from Georgia Tech, and a hell of an engineer. Well, then they tell you right there, they built up motherfucking hell, helped to build it up, engineer it, right? And I got property there too. That's where the auntie went to. That's where one of the houses is at too. So Ben is an ambassador to Australia. Okay, and so I know, but Ben was also he was on the middle lane of things, thought form. He wasn't really with them on a lot of shit because even when I got out and I was explaining stuff, he was listening, but we didn't even know each other. But he was listening to our conversation, and as they were trying to lean into more Jewish thought and this and that and so forth, Ben stepped out and was cool as fuck. He stepped out. He says, "You don't have to believe that. That's it." Because Ben was more the middle line, and even though he might operate over here to make some money or even married to somebody within that family, that wasn't his whole fucking nature. It wasn't his nature because he wouldn't have stopped them from fucking saying, "Hey, you don't have to steer him down that fucking thought. You don't have to steer him down that. Let him, okay?" He already stated pretty much what the fuck he said, but what his thought was, you don't have to go ahead and try and steer that shit. Basically, all that came out of him, but he said, but I'm not gonna lie, the energy said all of that shit. I was like, wow, okay, so okay. Well, and and we keep on going and we learn. We're not going, and I thank Ben right now. And they might be deeper into the processes of extracting and all that, and so it's probably going to hurt them, when all of this shit does come down to, not just his name, family, but being, a diplomat. But I was even prepared for that in the sense of meeting a diplomat by going to Napa Mental State Hospital, and they had taken an ambassador from one of these countries that didn't fucking comply, took all of his shit from him, and stuck him inside the motherfucking damn hospital right there. Stuck him inside of Napa with, well, he was there before me, and he's probably older. He's older now, and he may be transitioned, maybe not. Maybe he's listening right now too. So, but stripped him down, which is basically what they do. Take your whole fucking family, take your whole fucking ID, take your whole positions, all of your work, and then it is theirs. And then they give it to somebody else, and, pretty much like they did with fucking Nikola Tesla and everybody else who, made patents and so forth and all this shit and everything, you know what I'm saying? They go ahead and take the patent here and might give the patent and get the patent here, but then they say Thomas Edison and what was his name, Anakin. I don't want to say Anakin. I want to say Baker for some reason. Thomas Edison. Okay, created electricity and so forth. All right, so when people come up with these different patents, they will make it fresh here, it's stamped here, but then they're going to go ahead and sell that same patent over to another jurisdiction, and so therefore, whether it be split in history that two people came up, or they'll say, hey, things don't just come to one individual either at the time. That the thought form itself, and that's because even with this, whether it be 7 directions, with the 7 colors, or 4 directions of north, south, east, and west, to include northeast, southeast, which comes an 8 right there. That's an 8 right there, So say 15 degrees, the 8 right there and 7, that's 15 degrees. 15 degrees, which in fact, actually, after Psalms 119, you have 15 degrees until you get to 120. All right? And Moses lived to what age? 120. All right? So during his time at 120, he's seen a lot of trees. He saw a lot of trees. Okay? He saw a lot of things. And what I mean by trees, and I'll go back to my OG that's here with me right now, he's 72 years old. He has went back because the Earth itself goes back one degree of retardation, okay, to go ahead and break up. And so does the mentality of the people, especially if they are not strong. And so does the body, okay, the body, these trees. And we were talking about, because we have some trees and everything that's like a row, right where we're looking at, where we're at right now. And he was saying that we were talking about energy and life and everything, you know? And I was explaining to them the same thing as far as money, as I'm sitting here talking about, and currency. It's like it's energy, you know. And he was saying because a lot of people is jealous of him, you know, and all kinds of different shit. And so basically, because he's rich, he's fucking rich, and that's why he's in the same place I'm in right now. All right. And he's had a motorcycle accident to where, you know, it really messed up his body, but it still doesn't necessarily diminish his energy. So that's the reason why he's exactly in the same place I'm living at right now, because they extract his energy, period. Okay? Period on that. So as we were walking past the different trees like in the city, okay, and even going back to cousin T.I., I ain't gonna even go with cousin T.I. over there, when he jumped in and said the trees don't hang out with the grass, you know. And so maybe in a city it does not. Maybe in the city aspect it does not hang out with the grass, you know what I mean? And that is because they have made it to be city blocks and everything, and all of the trees have been chopped away. So there's one row of trees in front of the place we're living in right there. I was telling them, hey, you know, those trees, if they will continue to grow, they're gonna, you know, die. Is, you know, what do you call it? Autumn is gonna shed its leaves and everything. But if we continually had water and everything, they would continue to grow. And he said, I don't believe that, you know? He said, I don't believe that. But then he tried to explain why, you know, and when I went to go ahead and go to, now this is where it goes to this is where Joshua Judges Kings, okay, after Joshua Judges comes what? Ruth, which is root. And so up underneath that row of trees that we was even talking about, the roots are up under there. And I done seen some, you know, we know that, but I was giving it to him in a logic form to where he can grasp it. You know, like, say, for instance, the highlands right here are Hollywood Hills. Listen to the word, wood, okay? Motherfucking Thousand Oaks. Listen to the word, oaks, you know? Even, how you doing, bro? All right. Even in Santa Monica, it's called Woodbury Cemetery. Wood. So what he failed to realize is that everything was cut down. Everything was woods. Everything has been cut down, trimmed down, and especially their sacred trees, in which to go ahead and create this block world that we live in. And I didn't get to that part because, again, people want to talk and don't necessarily want to listen, and that's fine. You know, he's my elder, OG. You know what I mean? And so, so we get on here today, and then I think it was, oh, Mother Mary, that spoke also on revolution, or going through different stages and how one may spend a lot of time inside of a whether it be a paradigm or a cycle inside of a cycle. And then let's go back before we get into that. Then we're looking at time itself, as the spiral. As Linda, when she opens up, she goes, if you like it, then if it fits, and she rolls her fingers in a certain way, then it's pretty much is yours to keep. I can't get the whole thing. It's yours to keep. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Give it back. So she's also moving her fingers in a way of time, okay? That is based off of the Fibonacci sequence. And so if we break that Fibonacci sequence down, because again, with even just the regular letters, what have you, we go right to left as opposed to left to right. Well, the Fibonacci sequence, it actually goes to the right. This is where time is created. But listen to the word, fib. What is fib? It's a fucking lie. It's a fucking lie. Fibonacci sequence. And then they blocked it off. They blocked it off and shit. All right? And said, this is time. And so this is the way our time goes right here, or this is the way that time is looked at anyway, because at the time that we're talking about man's creation or man's 3D vision of it. Because we see, even in the higher astrology, okay, we talk about it all day long. Retrograde, 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 retrograde. We got 4 of them going on right now. So evidently, that shit is not going the same fucking way. Now that right there should go ahead and give you the thing on time. And that what it does, it balances out. And so at the same time, whatever you're going through, just like this tree again right here, and we got this tree. Now he right here, the trees don't hang out with the grass because this grass is fake, all right? This grass is fake. So even if this grass, he's right on this right here. The trees don't hang out with it. You're right. I was looking to see if the tree is fake, but no, the tree is real, okay? And they did that again for the purpose of not being able to water it. Or they're watering it from underneath. Now, and this is what I was trying to tell the OG, is that those trees would stay and everything. Why? Because they're all chained underneath at the roof, at the root. And they're soaking water from all the way down to the lakes. Echo Park even got a lake there. They're soaking water and transferring it through all of them. Everybody's underneath, assisting to go ahead and make sure that everybody's getting some water. And I've actually seen some trees get the fuck up and move, especially on the videos. A few videos straight up move, okay? And I know it wasn't any camera action, okay? Because we are alive. We are alive. That's right. We are alive and everything. All right? And so that's the reason why the movie Avatar, but if I see you, I know you see me see you. I know. But you didn't know how long I was looking though. How long ago I saw. Look at that motherfucker damn boy. We got the binger. How does that shit happen all the time? That's crazy. On cue on a lot of places. A lot of things. That's crazy. I kid you not. That's crazy. I trip out on that shit. I mean, I actually got to go ahead and let that soak in, because it just quit right now. All right, it just stopped right now on the dot. Wow, that was freaking beautiful. That was right on time. Right on time. And so when we are in, what I was saying is, don't be in such a hurry to go from one ship to the next ship, especially in the military. They said, make sure you square yourself away. Okay? Make sure you square yourself away. And what is meant by that? It's basically, again, if you got to square up and motherfucking fight, then you got to fucking square up and fight. All right? If not, then make sure your house is put together. You've done whatever it is to your house, to your body, to your internals. Make sure you put all that in. Make sure you have a settled, still mind to where you can go ahead and contemplate, on those things, necessary steps that you and you alone have to take. And knowing whatever it is that you have sincerely put in the work for, and it is inside of your contract, that you have not gained illicit energy or material from any fucking body. All right? And not to say that you will not need some help at certain times, but those times will come up, even though it might be under the guise of a guise, meaning, and disguise of a unfair or unknowingly interaction of energy, whether it be your energy to currency, money that this world operates on. So if you got in a bad marriage, I've had a couple myself. You know what I'm saying? My Uncle John, Big Mouth, we call him Big Mouth and everything. Gene, it's Gene, same thing. Gene, Big Mouth. Both of them braggarts too. Wow, I didn't think about that. Did not fucking think about that. I wonder if John is too. I don't know. John is the Kirk side. They got Kirkland, say when you go to Costco, Kirkland, Captain Kirk. Okay, Kirk means church. He's military too. But we did speak for a minute, I think, one time. So I don't know. He out of Georgia too. As his Uncle John, who when I was 19 years old, he's off here at Hauser down here. Went ahead and gave him $1,000 because he done smoked up his motherfucking damn thing for rent and blamed it on Leonard, his gay buddy, and why he's 3 months behind, and rent was only $300 motherfucking dollars back then. Anyways. But what he did state one time, he says, hey, you know what? Everybody got motherfucking problems. Stand in the fucking line. Get in the fucking line. All right? And that line upon line upon line. This is Isaiah 28. And this is talking about 108. This is talking about the kokanim, kokma. All that. Those three words come from a kokma is wisdom. Kok is that of the precepts. Okay, judgments. Okay, and kokanim is that of the stars and so forth and everything that we're sitting here talking about. And kokanim is that plural. Kok is singular and kokanim is plural. Okay, in the Hebrew. And so, as we're talking about the greater keys of Solomon right now, we still got to go ahead and get in line. What does that mean by that? Line upon line upon line. Here a little, there a little. Okay, what about that line? What does it start with? Start with precepts. So those precepts and everything And we are all present with everything is a present. Like today is a brand new fucking day. Okay? Brand new sun. So we are present, okay, with these precepts that are signed, sealed, delivered in our helixes, in our DNA, in our 666. And depending on what you go ahead and work on, what you go ahead, if you want to just go ahead and say time is fluid and just hold it like that, then, hey, more power to you, brother. More power to you. And you can say it with so much fucking strength as you want, but it doesn't fucking mean you're right. Doesn't fucking mean you're right at all. Doesn't mean I'm right. All right? And it's not about being right. It's about being in harmony. It's about flowing in harmony. That's what it's fucking about. All right? Because if we go ahead and, on the other side of the world right now, depending on where you're at, if you go ahead and see, somebody's up gathering the information right now. And when you wake up, or go to sleep or whatever, that information, if you're tied in, that's going to be sent to you right away. So, you can get inside of this day and analyze it for yourself, because even that information is going to be looked at differently because we're coming from different perspectives and so forth, different missions. We're going to utilize that information. Everyone's going to utilize that information differently. So to be stubborn as a young fuck or an old fuck is what fucks the world up. You see what I'm saying? That's what fucks the world up. And this, my friend, give me 1 second. This is why it's put into the word of a present, to be present and so forth. And it's put in the present form, like a present, and it can be put in the form of a gift. So it depends on how you want to go ahead and accept that. Regardless, it's coming to you, whether you want to accept as a present, which is present to you, or you could take the German word gift, which means poison. So we have a way, at least two right there ways of looking at it. And then whatever other language means present or gift to, you can go ahead and see those meanings and then extract whatever from that lingua and add to, just like I just did right now with ye. Okay, we just look to see where the roots, you put one letter together, you put two letters together, and then you fucking see what the fucking roots are. And you see, where did it come from? How did people go ahead and take it and use it? And so, now going back to that tree. So everybody does not necessarily, it depends on what type of tree you are, whether you're going to have a thin root, okay, a tall root, a bunya tree, or a fucking oak tree, a pine tree, right? Or if it's going to be that of a fucking sequoia, okay, the sequoias and everything, And I had this one video on one of the channels, and they took it. It was crazy. They took the tree. It's a rainbow tree. It actually, the colors it came out of it was actually fucking rainbow. Every fucking color. Every color. And they cut this tree down, and it was out of sequoias and everything. And you saw, I'm talking about 50 fucking people plus a utility truck and everything on the trunk of this thing, okay? Because they're cutting it up, and they took even a piece of it to Arizona. And this is back then when they was cutting all this shit down, even like I said, they burnt Hebron. They burnt Hebron to go ahead and take the Devere, all right, and give it to Mount Shasta. That's what the fuck they did, all right? Those are the stories that we read about in fucking chapter 10 of Yeshua. So when we Yeshua or Yehoshua, that's Yehoshua actually the story. So you gotta check out. It's just so many different things. It's just not. You gotta do your work. You gotta do your fucking homework. You know, and it's not. I can go ahead and just implore you to, you know, and applaud you to do your homework. Okay, because it is your mission. I have my own. You know, like fucking like what he says. Oh boy, at point of return, no point of return and shit. You know what I'm saying? He said, "Don't follow me, motherfucker. I'm just a man. Don't follow me." You know, and it's not to say that I have anything that's worth following. You know, a lot of as you see, a lot of people's mission is fucking solo. A lot of people, and that's if you include yourself being a people, or you know, however you describe yourself to be. I don't describe myself to be none of that stuff. Those are linguistic terms to put you in a category, and so when you do come into courtrooms and settings, to go ahead and put a label on you, to project on you, so therefore you have some type of a logo, which is a word, to describe you inside of any type of setting, and especially the legal settings of the UCC laws, which are governed by the ocean there, and which where Moo is at. That's where Moo. That's what people keep saying. These. Motherfucker, stop stuttering. Shit. Stop fucking stuttering. Like they definitely. Ruben was getting around. Ruben Stutter been fucking motherfuckers up, boy. He been stut. Damn. He must have some good dick. And what I mean by that is deep inner knowing, okay? Ruben Stutter must have some good ass dick. Long and strong. Down to get the friction on, you know what I'm saying? Because he got a whole lot of people, man and female, saying like they were part of the Oompa Loompas. Oompa Lee. If you was mine, you would listen to me. Oompa. That's where the motherfucking Oompa came from, the Oompa Loompas. For real. But they was telling no shit. They was telling the truth inside of there, because they was telling us, hey, man, eat right, you know, stop doing this and everything. The little Oompa Loompas, but the Oompa Loompa, you got to get your history on that, because it's also a tribe. Okay, queen. At least they told us that it was a queen, and you got to go ahead and believe it again. You know, as they say, hey, as the bot of God, or batim of God, you know, the sons of God, which are actually the daughters of God, you know, came on down and came into the sons of men. You know, they just flipped that motherfucking story. That's what happened. And yeah, so back to the tree. When we're going in that revolution, okay, that soulful revolution, yeah, sometimes that it's not going to be, you're not going to come out of that. That's the reason why retrogrades are there. Because the tree doesn't just fucking keep growing to the next fucking level, next to the level. Why? Some trees do, but they don't have a fucking strong root. Okay? They don't have a strong root. They got a really, you know, small root. And that's where what we see most of the time, to where this trees right here, these trees right here, they will get taken the fuck up out of here. But if we go back to the sequoias and the trees we're talking about, them trees are not fucking moving. They're not moving because they're fucking rooted. Why? Because they stayed inside and they got thicker. They sat on their fucking bed. They dealt with whatever the fuck they had to deal with. They got thicker. That's the reason why it says in the scripture, sit on thy bed and be still. That's why it says that. Okay? And in that process, this is how, whether it be the 14 generations of ancestors and so forth, they actually, like ISIS was supposedly went ahead and fucking went looking for the phallus of Osiris, They got all pieces except for one. All right? They got all the pieces except for one, except for that dick. And we're talking Peter. Matter of fact, it was crazy too because, I should have known something myself when Anne, her father, I met him, and his name is Peter. And I didn't know this till later on in the last, Kopf is German. Her last name is Kopf, which is a German letter, Kopf, which means head. It means monkey. All right? Kopf. So, and and he's tall. He's tall, And his brother is actually a midget, Uncle Tommy. And Uncle Tommy is cool as fuck. He had all the train sets, and we're talking about music. He has all the fucking music from on LPs and shit. It's like, we was gigging every time I saw Uncle Tommy, And he's cool as fuck. I hope he's still living. And, he has all the trains and everything. Let's put it this way. Trains, planes, automobiles, and albums. Music. He has it all. He fucking has it all. I know he has it in German. I know he has all English and everything too. Probably, and if he knows other languages, I'm sure he's got other languages too. On LPs. Right? And so Peter, they had different fathers. So evidently his mama, I guess when fashion came, she was out here doing her thing, or did you hear that fucking, as soon as I said it, she was out here doing her thing. Or as part of the fucking whole, the whole Masonic, groups and shit, where just how Betty, Black Betty, you bumping them out and have different fucking daddies, like the Oliver family. It's a real Black Betty, for real, even from, with roots of Jamaica and shit, okay? Jamaican funk, that's what it is. So they was doing some funky. And they have the actual Swiss flag with alligators. So, hey, it is really a monarch butterfly going to the left. Kind of cool. Went back to the right. Yeah. And, wow, I was tripped out because we're talking about the subject matter. And I said British, Swiss, and alligators and monarch. Monarch butterfly comes and does a dance in front of us. Oh my goodness, so cool. Anyways, so that progression and everything and growing is what we're talking about. It's not a straight up. And it's not by anybody else's fucking, what they deem the hell, how one doesn't learn a lesson or is learning a lesson. Even if one goes ahead and is building something, you know what I'm saying? What happens even in building muscle, whether you want to go ahead and shrink down, it takes time to shrink down. And you have to do it consistently. Same thing with building a muscle. You're going to be stuck at a weight if you want to increase for a period of time. And in that only during that time and being consistent at that, whether it be even sitting on the fucking bed. and listen to the answer. Listen to yourself, and the 14 generations that's gonna come through you, and get the fucking teachings. And that's the reason why these retro comes here through. Okay, and so, all right. So there's no rush to go ahead and by other people's looking in saying, "Oh, you missed the lesson. I don't know what it is. It can only work this way and everything." Fuck them motherfucking people, because they don't understand. They don't understand. They're off. They detached into the greater keys, and the lesser keys of Solomon is for the lower keys, and their lives really are in shambles, or at the status quo for what the agenda is for the standard, okay, ANSI, okay, the American National Institute Standard, okay, whether it be in fucking tarot, whether it be fucking whatever the fuck it is, all standards, medicine, everything, all standards and everything. So, and that's why it's called a collective, because it's supplying that right there, all of the fields that we're sitting here talking about, especially that of the medical field and the body, because without the body, they have no fucking energy. Why? Because they don't have a soul. Why? Back to fucking Doreen Dotan. Doreen Dotan. She said the color of skin color. She said the darker complected person has a lot of melanin, and they have a lot of wisdom. It's like we have the dark trees and stuff that, anything black, everything has a lot of things that withstand it, but it's hard to express it. It's hard to express it. Even when we look at the continent of Africa, and we see all the dark, complected people over there. Now we have a lot of people that are smart, okay? And we have a lot of people that can express a lot of things, but that's not where Hollywood is at, okay? That's not where Kemet is at. Egypt is over there, but now Kemet, not where the alchemy is at, that's right the fuck right here. This is where fucking Hollywood is at. This is where everybody wants. That's why everybody wanted to come here. A lot of people don't want to come here no more, because of the state that we're in. But that's the reason why. And that's the reason why they came over here and said, eat for free. Because this motherfucking place. So, a lot of people, and because of the language, they did that to fuck everybody up too. So people didn't talk to get together even over there on a large fucking scale. What scale? A scale of 14. 14 countries to cup that shit up. So they just broke down the whole fucking country in a body. Broke it down. Changed the name Akabula to Africa. And Africa means motherfucking hot. Hot. They got 2 A's on the end for fucking for the towers, for the vision, 11 is that a vision, right? You got the 2 A's on the end. Then they got the 666. They got 6666 with the F and the R. That's all women right there. And then the I goes back to the motherfucking 2 I's in the I Ching. 27 and 42, one of increase and one of nourishment, meaning feeding the mouth. So that's where all the damn rituals come in. That's where all the rituals come in from all over the fucking world. Everybody combined there. It's not really combined, it's really extracted and made the language and then blood led the language to go ahead and bleed and then create the same systematic holy days, which are inside of KJV, especially for the whole body of who? Puck. Puck. Like Soul Revolution said, you know what I'm saying? Puck. It's theater. Chapter 46, theater. Psalms. We go ahead, again, count 46 words in is shake, top of the scripture. Count 46 words back from the bottom of the scripture is spear. And the chapter itself is reverse 666. So what are they doing? They're reversing the motherfucking DNA, even in that whole fucking chapter right there, by Puck, by fucking Shakespeare. Ain't that right, Mary Jo? Mary Jo. Or I'm sorry, you supposed to be Army Strong, or is it Army Strong? Yeah. See, that's what Eugene thought. That's what both of Eugenes thought. And then if we don't force no air either, you know, that's Archie. We don't force Archon, okay? The archangels are fucking archons. And it's not Michael, it's Michael. Or Mikhail. Mikhail is really the feminine form, but anyways, all of that shit. So, soulful, you know, revolution, is about revolution. That's really going inside of a motherfucking revolution. It's going inside of a circle. It's not necessarily rebellion like fucking Malek, okay, is, and that means rebelling against the fucking system. A true king, which we don't even have none, and that's the reason why these kings that are in charge, they are true kings in rebellion against what is natural law, what is cosmic law. I'm not going to put natural in there because that natural comes from motherfucking Tanzania, okay? I'm not even putting that inside of there. Fuck that. It's just precepts upon precepts. And we just had some FBI dudes right now. They got some brand new carts out here pushing like they motherfucking down. Been on the street. Damn. That was pretty funky, eh? Pretty funky, eh? Anyways, yeah. So that's how your tree is, your root is going to get fucking thicker. And then, when depending on what your contract is, depending on what you know that you signed up for, that's when you go ahead and move. And if you have to go through to build your muscle up and go through different cycles again and again and again and again, you know, even if you go with a bicycle on a cycle, it's still going round and round and round, and you're still getting to where you're going. Just because you don't fucking see the progress on the out, or they don't see it, or you're not progressing to what they fucking think. Fuck them. Understand? You only know your contract, and that's it. Fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Wow. They just sent some, what do you call it? Minions. Some minions in. A little bit to mess up the little flow. That's okay. We all good. We water. We just go with it. Go with it. Anyways, so like I said, we can look at time. It can be fluid for the rest of your motherfucking life. That's cool. Rest of my motherfucking life. That's cool too. But it doesn't necessarily be for everybody else's. And you can say it to your red in the face, blue in the face, purple and blue in the face, brown in the face, whatever the fucking color you want to fucking say. Doesn't necessarily mean it's right. And it's not to say, you know, that I don't love you. Okay? But we would not have things forced down my throat. And we don't have to look at the channel. I know that. But, you know, at the same time, you know, hey, if we come back to the middle on things, what a lot of people do, then we come back and we say, okay, we can check on them and see what, you know, hey, just see how they're doing. Not to see if they changed or anything, but, you know, just see how they're doing. See what they, you know, where they're at inside of their cycle. You know? See where they're at inside of their cycle. You know? And because that's what everybody else is doing. That's how everybody know who everybody is. They know when it was coming. You know, because that is written. It's written already. It's written. Then it can't be changed. It can be, you know, some fatal things can come because of fate. Okay? Because of fate, it's mutable. But But your debt, our contract is immutable. We can lose it because we don't do our shit. We don't do our work. We can fucking lose it. You know. So, but if other than that, you're gonna the only reason why you got down here to even come into your avatar because you fought like a motherfucker. It's been so many damn sperms trying to get down here to this place right here to to do what they do, to experience. And hey, if it's make it better place, or either break the motherfucking down, however, whatever contract they are sent to do, then that's what it's here for. That's what but it wasn't no easy struggle. It wasn't, even as sperm, we had to fight to get in the egg, fertilize it. Especially on land, differently in the sea with different species. Because again, like the or the crab, or dragon, the seahorse, 200, 200 crabs and everything. Same thing. They put multiplicity of babies out. All right. So, but this experience here to get to evolve to this experience, which is they said the human, it's the human, but the man is different than the human. Trust me. We're not talking about the Moorish, African-ish, American-ish, national-ish. We're not talking about none of them motherfuckers. Those are the ones that just said, hey, come on, that's some good land fucking over there, and our shit is not enough and everything. And we're still going to go ahead and make more fucking people. I know we can't stop the creation process, but all the clones, that's what you can stop. That's what you can stop and shit. So, how you doing? So it's all up to you. It's all up to you and your perspective. But one thing you don't do is you don't have to take nobody's advice. Go to nature and look at it. Follow nature. Follow the tree. We want to grow up and be strong like a fucking strong. It might be slow as a turtle, but even a turtle, all he got to do is pull his motherfucking shit in, or her shit in, and they can roll, fucking land or sea. Land or sea. So take your time with yourself and fuck everybody else. Fuck everybody else and what they're doing, because their mission is not your mission. All right? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get out of here with that one. You guys, thank you very, very, very much. I appreciate you. And keep loving me. I'm going to keep loving you. Even if you don't. That's where my mama left me 2 spoons. She left me both of them long. One, to where I can just go ahead and stick this tip in and everything, I don't want to get close to a person, just stick the tip in and feed them and everything a little bit. And then, what happens is people might say, hey, damn, I like that shit. It might be just a vibration of the motherfucking spoon. So she left me one with a swivel on it that's like spinning and shit. So therefore, if they grab a hold of the fucking whatever you're trying to grab a hold on, just spin that motherfucker on out and you still take your shit back. She just left me 2 spoons. And so I leave those 2 things with you. Be peaceful and multiply and have a great day, okay? All right, ciao, ciao.